And it's really hard to believe that this is our last segment of AVIXA TV Live at ISE. But who better to join us and wrap everything up than Sarah Joyce, Chief Global Officer at AVIXA, and Wendy Griffiths, the Senior Vice President in Membership and Global Development at CEDIA. So Sarah, Wendy, welcome back to AVIXA TV on our last day of our live show. So we love having you here. And this is one of my favorite segments just to kind of wrap everything up.
Absolutely.
So ISE, it continues to raise the bar each and every year, and 2026 is absolutely no exception. So from your perspectives, what have been some of the most memorable moments and experiences that you've had on the show, from the show floor this year?
Well, I'm going to kick off having just come straight from the women's session. So we had the Women in AV Collective for the first time bringing together not only the AVIXA Women's Council, but also RISE, Women in Live Music and other groups as well. And I have to say it's the largest attendance that we've had at ISE so far, which is phenomenal. So a lot of strength and power in the room, a great keynote speaker, and a super panel session. So that's the sort of freshest thing in my mind in terms of thinking about community, who we've been bringing together, and celebrating our industry.
Wonderful. We love hearing that. Wendy?
And carrying on the theme of women, actually, we had a joint venture this year between CEDIA and ISE to drive some influencers from the interior design community to come along. They came along and spent the day at the show yesterday, and one of them's actually stayed behind to spend the day at the show today. And the excitement from that community about what's going on in technology. But I think a resounding statement that lasted with me is one of the women said to me before she left yesterday, one of the interior designers, she said, "I'm hoping you're inviting us again next year. If not, I'm coming by myself, because this gives me such an edge when it comes to interior design and working with clients, just to see what technology is out there and be able to implement it into the projects I'm actually working on." So that's worked really well.
Oh, that's incredible. And I think often big shows like this, you get sort of tied up with the sort of the big statistics, the thousands of people doing this and the tens of thousands doing that. To have those personal moments of feedback from individuals, I think must be really meaningful, right?
Yeah, it is, because if you think about the booths on the show floor, stands on the show floor, they've got the technology, and then you've got the people that are visiting it that are thinking about the technology and how it's going to be utilised. But the end user experience, I think that's where we really learn from, and how they would actually implement this technology in whatever environment they're working in.
Yeah, and I think that's where, for me as well, talking at the end users is such a key focus for the participants that are brought in, because if you look at the innovation that's taking place across all of the show, I very much can see a greater trend to showing solutions and experiences, and that's the draw for the end users, because they want to be able to see a solution, understand the products, they know the products, but to see the solution and to see so many of the exhibitors taking that focus, and very great shift in the design of their booths, just stunning, beautiful this year.
Yeah. Totally agree. So this year we've seen some major themes and discussions as usual, and they've been around topics including AI and the convergence across AV, IT and broadcast solutions, as well as future-proofing technology solutions as well. How do you see those themes evolving at ISE 2026, and were there any other standout trends that you feel really defined this year's show? Wendy, maybe you can kick us off.
Yeah, I think the convergence of AV, IT and broadcast has to me, it's come across a lot more mature and intentional this year. Certainly from a residential side of things, making sure that, again, the end user is being considered so that the systems that are being offered are simpler to use, easier to explain, and just thought through from a process perspective.
I think ISE set a beautiful mission with Push Beyond, and you can see that in everything that's being done. So in all of the examples you gave, I think if we look back to last year and now to this year, the innovation and the growth that's happened within where we're seeing AI deployment and a broader consideration around AI as well, and particularly the production focus and content focus, that for me with the broadcast AV, as Wendy mentioned, is lovely to see that sort of new market, that convergence of the broadcast space, the AV space coming together and seeing some real growth and differentiation there.
And you're totally right about how those conversations mature as they go along, because I remember maybe 3-4 years ago when the AI conversation was just kind of really emerging, and to see year on year how it changed from fear to confusion to sort of accusing everyone of the AI washing, and then finally kind of getting to terms with, and all these people who had it in their products for so long and were finally starting to sort of reveal that. It's incredible, how those conversations evolve.
Yes, we love seeing coming here to ISE and actually seeing everything that we've been talking about in the industry. It's tangibly here. You can go experience it, and it's just been a wonderful show so far. And one of the reasons we really love coming to ISE is to talk about, what's next. Let's forecast, what technologies are on the horizon. So as we look at a snapshot of where the industry has been, ISE is also helping to show us where it's heading next. So as we're wrapping up ISE, and you zoom out and you take a look at the whole entire week, what do you think this shows us about where the industry is heading next? And what have those conversations been like that you've had on the show floor that maybe give you a little indication of what's on the horizon?
I'm going to twist that slightly and take it from the generational impact I'm seeing and how that's going to shift and change how we think about technology, use technology, and also the development of technologies in general. And I think for me, what I'm seeing is a far greater number of young people coming into the show. We obviously have the focus with CEDIA. We have the Fast Forward Friday taking place tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. And that, I think, is about how we're bringing so many more young people into the industry and getting them aware of the vibrancy and what's available. And I think from that, once we start seeing a couple more years of the success that we've had over the last 3 years with Fast Forward Friday, we can always, bless him, we can call out Danny at Lang and use him as a wonderful example. But we're going to be losing count of the number of people that we can say that and talk about them. And why I love his story so much is, 3 shows ago, he came as an attendee, as a student, as part of the matchmaking that's happening tomorrow. He got a job at Lang. The next year he came as an exhibitor, and as you know, last year he came to Infocom America Latina in Mexico as a speaker.
It's
and
incredible.
He was overjoyed to be able to say within 3 years he's got 3 different exhibitor badges. And so he's our sort of poster young man for the potential that this industry brings. So I'm going to concentrate on the people and that work that's being done and what that's going to do and shift in the technology space in a very quick space of time.
Yes, Wendy, do you have any thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, my focus is more on the technology side of things, and I think things like cybersecurity on the residential side is a prominent technology we're seeing. I think it's driven by people wanting to feel secure in their home, having the knowledge that the data and how they're using their home is not going to intrude or become a security issue. So I think this cybersecurity side of things, we've certainly seen a lot around that, and it's a big focus for CEDIA as well. And AI is obviously the word that we're hearing out of everyone's lips at the moment, whether it's through implementation in businesses to be more effective. Because obviously the thing about ISE is it's not just a show about technology, it's a show about business, and it's those peer group, those really essential peer networking discussions where people are learning from each other and part of those learnings from each other about efficiency in business and making connections.
Nice.
And pushing forward.
We really can't underestimate the importance of community at this show. It is, of course, it's a technology show, but technology is about people. This is how people come to meet each other, do business, to network, to create opportunities. And I think that's another key space where we're seeing demographic shifts and changes and the potential to be able to be far more innovative in what we're doing through the groups that are meeting and the events that are taking place and the content that's being produced as well. That's driving a lot of very different conversations.
I think that's the common part between every sector that's represented on the show floor is the content part of it. So it's great seeing those collaborations and those discussions happening between the different sectors as well, not just focused within each part of the technologies.
A lot of crossover and a lot of solution driving.
Yeah, definitely. And from an association standpoint, what are some of the newer initiatives or priorities that you've been working on recently, and how have attendees and members responded to them this year here at ISE?
So from CEDIA's perspective, I mean, good engagement again with our education. We hosted a first ever standalone workshop on Monday, and that's driven around standards. So what our industry is always looking for from us is guidance and those opportunities for the advocacy around standards and recommended practices. So we hosted a workshop on RP32 this year, which is our new standard to do with immersive audio verification. So that was really well attended and great to see the interaction with that. Big part of our strategy talks to my earlier point about the design and build community. We have huge advocacy work to do within that sector, the architects, the interior designers, developers, realtors, specifiers, all these people to tell them about what's possible in the home. So that's a big part of what CEDIA are actually investing in 2026-7, and including investment in resource as well. So I think those are probably the two of the key areas that are newer to us.
Fantastic. And now as we're closing out ISE 2026 and we're looking ahead at the rest of the year, what are you most excited about for your members and the industry as a whole? And I'll direct that to you, Wendy.
I think the opportunities are there in things like the assisted living and living in home. There's no denying every day we sit here we get older, and so do the people around us.
Don't remind us.
And I think people want to stay in their homes longer.
Yeah.
So I think bringing technology into the home to allow people to be able to do that is something we've been discussing quite a bit here in terms of setting up working groups to set standards and recommended practices, etc. around that. So I think that's one of the key areas. And then I touched on cybersecurity earlier as well. There's a lot of education we need to do in that area as well, and guidance notices, etc.
Likewise.
Yeah,
Yeah, very strong.
absolutely.
Absolutely.